Hello, third grade, and welcome to Unit 2, Lesson 5. This is our last lesson in Unit 2 before you do your wrap-up and your big idea project. And this lesson is about life in the Caribbean. So the first thing you want to do is answer your essential question. How does diversity influence culture? What do you think? And take a look at the words to know section uh, on the bottom part of page 92 on the left side. Find the definition for each word and write a synonym on the line. Remember, a synonym is a word that has the same or almost the same meaning. So you have the word heritage, the word include, and the word recreation. So keep a lookout for those words and write synonyms for them on the line.
Lesson 5. Life in the Caribbean. Essential question. How does diversity influence culture? What do you think? The people of the Caribbean. Almost 40 million people live in the Caribbean. Many of these people are a mix of European, African, Native American, and Asian heritage. Heritage is something handed down from the past, such as language or culture. Over the centuries, these heritages have blended together throughout the Caribbean. The native people who lived in the Caribbean were the Taino. Later, much of the Caribbean was settled by the French and Spanish. Many Africans were brought to the islands as enslaved people to work for the settlers. Eventually, they were freed and continued to live on the islands. Over the years, Africans have added their traditions to the food, music, and arts of the region. The Spanish, English, French, and Dutch founded colonies on many of the islands of the Caribbean. These colonies include Santo Domingo, the first permanent European settlement in the Caribbean. Many Asians also live in the Caribbean. Most came during the 1800s to work on sugarcane farms. They stayed and eventually formed their own communities. In some Caribbean countries, people developed their own language. They combined parts of different languages from their home countries. One example is Haitian Creole, which is spoken in Haiti. It has French words, but uses grammar from African languages. Other Creole languages in the Caribbean are based on English, Spanish, and Dutch. English and French are spoken throughout the whole region. Quick check. How were the languages spoken in the Caribbean similar to the languages spoken in the United States? Did you know? Haiti became the first colony in the region to gain independence from France.
All right, now going through these sections, we're going to underline the cultures that influence life in the Caribbean. So you're going to find a lot of these on both of these pages. So underline all of the different cultures. And then for number 2, how are languages spoken in the Caribbean similar to languages spoken in the Southeast United States? So you're going to find that answer down here in this last paragraph at the bottom of page 93. Once you've completed that and you've completed the parts on page 92, we're going to go on to pages 94 and 95.
Different cultures in the Caribbean. There are many different cultures in the Caribbean. Let's take a look at some of them. As you read, think about how the cultures of the Caribbean are similar to the culture of the United States. Cuba. Cuba has the largest population in the Caribbean, about 12 million people. It is a diverse country. Many of the people are of African, European, and Asian heritage. Spain ruled Cuba for many years. One contribution is in the language. Many Cubans speak Spanish today. The government controls much of the country and the people. Many people have moved to other countries for freedom, including the United States. Quick check. What cultures influenced Cuba? Jamaica. About 3 million people live in Jamaica. Most of the people are of African heritage. European and American influences can be seen around the country. Jamaica was first a Spanish colony. Then it became an English colony. English is the official language, but Spanish and other languages are also spoken. Reggae is a popular style of dance music in Jamaica. It was influenced by blues music from the Southeast United States. Quick check. What cultures have influenced Jamaica? Different cultures in the...
Okay, so one of the things we're going to pay attention to is the important information we're getting from each one of these sections. Now, for the section on Cuba, our quick check question asks, what cultures influence Cuba? And if we go in and take a look at the reading, we found out that the Spanish and the American cultures both influenced Cuba. And we see that reflected in the language that's spoken, and the type of government that they have. Now, for Jamaica, our quick check question was, what cultures have influenced Jamaica? Now, we can see that African, European, and American cultures have all influenced Jamaica, and that's in your text evidence if you look into the passage there. All right, the next section we're going to talk about is the Dominican Republic. Now, the Dominican Republic is where Christopher Columbus first landed in 1492, and it later became a Spanish colony. Most of the people who live there today speak Spanish. Seafood, beans, rice, meat, vegetables, and plantains, which is another kind of banana, are the main ingredients in their food. Pottery making and weaving are both popular art forms in the Dominican Republic. And one of the cultures that influenced the Dominican Republic that we found in the reading is the Spanish culture. Now, next, at the top of our following page, we're going to talk about the Bahamas. Now, the Bahamas were influenced by Native, African, and English cultures. It was first settled by English colonists looking for religious freedom. Africans were brought as enslaved people to work on cotton farms. Asian and Hispanic immigrants also live in the Bahamas. A lot of what people of the Bahamas eat come from the sea that surrounds them. African rhythms, Caribbean calypso, and English folk songs create a style of music that's unique to the Bahamas. So our quick check question for this section is, what cultures have influenced the Bahamas? Now we know that the Native culture, the African culture, and English cultures have all influenced life and the culture of the Bahamas. Our last section that we're going to talk about here is Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Almost 4 million people live in Puerto Rico. Many live in and around San Juan, the capital. European, African, Hispanic, and American heritages influence life in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a Commonwealth of the United States. This means that Puerto Ricans are American citizens. Quick check. How are Puerto Rico and the United States similar?
Our quick check question asks us how Puerto Rico and the United States are similar. We find out from our reading that Puerto Ricans are actually American citizens because Puerto Rico is a Commonwealth of the United States. So the citizens of Puerto Rico can travel freely between Puerto Rico and the United States.
Haiti. Haiti declared its independence from France in 1804. It is the first nation in the history of the world to be founded by formerly enslaved people. There are more than 9 million people living in Haiti. Most speak Haitian Creole or French. The food is influenced by the French, with many breads, cheeses, and desserts. Fresh fruit and vegetables are also eaten daily in Haiti. The country is still recovering from a huge earthquake that hit in 2010. Quick check. Name one culture that has influenced Haiti.
Now, looking through the reading passage, we can see that one of the countries that had a strong influence on Haitian culture is France and the French culture. So make sure as you're reading through these, you're circling the things that they're asking you to circle and underlining accordingly. I would circle and underline also the important influences on these different regions and the different cultures that influence their ways of life, because those are things that are going to come up in your quizzes and on later assignments. Once you've completed that, we're going to move on to the pages titled Caribbean Culture.
Caribbean culture. The Caribbean's mild climate makes it a popular spot for recreation, or relaxing or playing for fun. Many people from all over the world take trips to the Caribbean every year. They can sail a boat, swim in the ocean, and take hikes around the different islands. These visitors, called tourists, are important to the people of the islands. Many people of the Caribbean earn a living while they share their culture with the tourists. Holidays and celebrations. Holidays and celebrations are an important part of Caribbean culture. Across the Caribbean, a festival known as Carnival is celebrated in the winter months. People wear bright costumes and participate in street parades with colorful floats and different kinds of music. In Puerto Rico, the Merengue Festival is one of the region's most popular Latin music festivals. The Dominican Republic celebrates its Independence Day in February, while the Bahamas celebrates its in July. Music. Many Caribbean music styles are based on African music and rhythms. These styles also use drums. The steel drum is an instrument unique to the Caribbean. It used to be made out of empty steel oil containers. Today, the drums play a wide range of sounds.
All right, now for this section, we're going to underline how African culture influenced the Caribbean. So we can see that right here in this bottom left-hand section where it talks about the styles of music. And then in the box to the right, it says, how is the Caribbean similar to the Southeast United States? So take a look at a lot of the festivals, a lot of the things that they are doing and celebrating, the styles of clothing and music, some of the different celebrations that they have, and use that information to write a short answer in this box. Once you've completed that, we're going to move on to the food section.
Food. The Caribbean also has unique food with many different influences. When people came to the area from Africa, they tried to recreate the foods of their homes. They had to swap out ingredients and spices for what they could find around them. This resulted in African recipes with Caribbean ingredients. Sports. Like the United States, sports are popular in the Caribbean. Several countries have their own baseball leagues. Many players have left the region to play for professional teams in the United States. Dominoes and soccer are other games played throughout the Caribbean. Quick check. How is the culture of the Caribbean similar to the culture of the southeastern United States?
All right, so let's take a look at the questions that we have on this page. It says, what sports are the same in the Caribbean and in the United States? So go ahead and take a look at that last paragraph right above the question, and you'll be able to find your answer. And then for your essential question, how does diversity influence culture? So now that you've gone through this lesson and you've gained some additional information, write a complete answer. Once you've completed that, please go ahead and do your Unit 2 Lesson 5 quiz and turn it in. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day. Take care, third grade. Bye-bye.